Liz and I have been together for over 10 years, or we've known each other for more than 10 years. We've been together for over 9 years.
We've known each other for 12.
For 12 years. Okay, for 12 years we've been together for over 9.5 years.
We met when we were 18.
Yeah, when we were 18. Yeah. Anyways, you know, it was definitely time for me to come and propose and finally ask her if she would marry me. So I basically decided that I would do it as creatively as I possibly can, and obviously as romantically as I possibly could. And I decided to go ahead and create a book. And I was going to go ahead and create a book through a story that Liz and I, or that I used to tell Liz every once in a while, just kind of a story that we told amongst each other.
This particular story, Ingo made it up sometime when we were dating a while back. I don't know, a couple of years ago. So it all started with him saying that, you know, we were always meant to be together, and that, you know, like ever since he was, you know, very young, he knew that he would meet his soulmate. And then it became like to the story where he was a little boy, and he went to Mexico, and he met me when I was a little girl, and he knew I was the one.
It took me approximately, from start to finish, probably about 6 months to get the whole story finished. So it took about 6 months. I already had the story in the works. Like I had said, it was something that, you know, I used to tell Liz a lot of the time. And so the basis of the story were there, but the hardest part was actually filling in the details, and not only that, but going and making sure that everything flows cohesively and actually writing down the story. The next step was to basically go to Liz's parents and basically ask for her hand in marriage. So what I had to do is early morning on a Sunday morning, while Liz was still asleep, I had to pull her parents out of bed with the help of her brother, of course, and then we brought them out to the backyard, and I kind of, you know, did my spiel and spoke to them and tried to get it out of me what I was trying to tell them. And of course it wasn't as smooth as I had hoped with my broken Spanish or whatnot. But as soon as they figured out what it was I was trying to say, that's when it kind of hit them, and they're like, oh, okay. And everybody just realized, you know, what was happening, and we were all very happy. And Liz's mom started tearing up, and then I started getting choked up. And and meanwhile, Liz was just asleep, you know, but that was never your problem. You were always able to sleep very well. Right before right after she unwrapped it, I slyly put the ring, which I had in my pocket, onto the back page. And if you look at the book, which I actually have right here, and if you look at the book, you'll notice that on the back cover there's a hole here, and in this hole I actually slipped the ring in there, and then I cut a hole on the last page so that the diamond was sticking out. So the diamond was sticking out right here. So all you could see was the diamond. And of course in the story, it goes on to, the boy follows the star, which happens to be the diamond that leads to Elizabeth.
Hi, today is March 8th, 2012, and it's my birthday.
What birthday? 30th.
30th birthday. I'm so excited. I'm in Cancun, Playa del Carmen. This is so beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful night, and my boyfriend brought me here for my birthday. I'm so excited.
What do you think it is?
What
do you think it is?
I don't know what it is. I was thinking karaoke song.
Open it. It's a direct clue to what the second one is.
Illuminator Touch. It's an e-reader book light lamp.
It's a book light.
It's a book light.
So what's the second?
Why did he give me a book? Because he got me a book!
Alright.
Okay.
Alright, so here's the thing. Open up that one. Open.
So the little book light is here.
So open the book now.
It's on with my purse. It's in my book. Maybe it's on HR.
HR. Goes like this. Wait, don't open it yet.
It says, it says Ingo and his star.
Okay, wait. Okay, I'm gonna turn the pages for you, and you're gonna do the reading. Okay, ready?
Ready.
First page, turn.
First page, turn. It's Ingo and his star. To my family from the past, whom I will never meet. To the family in my future, whom I've yet to greet. To the one person whom without the cycle of life is incomplete. My Elizabeth.
Ta-da!
Oh,
Okay,
that's
okay.
me. It's my birthday.
It is your birthday.
Ingo and His Star by Ingo DePino. Oh, how cute!
Okay.
Just beneath the lush green tree line of Mozambique's jungle, where
the brightly colored mangoes hang low to the ground, sat a little boy named Ingo, who lived in a mango as large as a house. The mango had a large door and 2 round windows. It also had several large shiny leaves that extended from the vein and shaded the large mango and its magnificent skin. Ingo loved these leaves as he would often lay on them to nap or use them for fun as a slide. The mango had the brightest yellow skin and a gentle splash of fiery red, and every imaginable shade in between. Ingo was always in awe of this mango he called home, and he often thought the mango was so bright and so big because it had swallowed one of Mozambique's beautiful sunsets. Although Ingo loved his mango very much, nothing amazed him more than gazing at the brightly lit star against the deep dark night sky. In fact, his favorite pastime was climbing to the top of his mango to gaze at the millions of stars sprinkled across the sky. He always wondered why they were so bright and why they were there.
Okay, my birthday gift. I'm here in f***ing Mexico, Cancun, Playa del Carmen. Ingo is f***ing published a book. I'm reading like 2 pages of the book, and here is Ingo, like his story about him loving lychee nuts, packing lychee nuts to travel to an adventure.
One night, as Ingo was gazing into the starry night while enjoying a bowl of freshly picked lychee nuts, which he had collected earlier in the day, he saw a star, brighter than he could ever have imagined. This star was so bright that it lit up his mango's fiery yellow skin, as if it was the light of day. It was so bright that Ingo had to turn away until it shrank in size and in brilliance, like a deflated balloon. It was then that the star began to dance across the sky. The star shot up, down, forwards, then back. The star spiraled towards Ingo and then circled away, lighting and dimming the jungle around Ingo's stunned face. Ingo was completely fixated on the star and amazed at what he was seeing. Suddenly, the star shot straight up towards the sky like a rocket, and then straight ahead of Ingo into the horizon. It finally rested in the distant horizon and began blinking rhythmically like a heartbeat. Ingo immediately wanted to follow the star, but it was so far past the boundaries of his jungle into the vastness of the sea, further than Ingo had ever traveled. Yet the blinking light seemed to be calling to him. Every flash was an invitation to discover the wonders that lay beyond, a chance to perhaps answer the question he pondered every night on top of his mango. What were the stars there for? Determined to answer his question, Ingo was suddenly filled with courage and slid back down into the mango to begin packing his bag for a new adventure. Knowing that it would be a long trip, Ingo takes care to pack extra lychee nuts. He folds the nuts in the leaves, ties the leaves onto a stick, and throws the stick over his shoulder as he takes the first step of his new adventure, anxious to meet the wonders that await. He follows the star outside the boundaries of his jungle to the edge of the sea, where the warm waves gently caress his feet. He looks up and down the beach for a way to cross, but slowly grows concerned as he sees no way to follow the star into the sea. Desperate, Ingo looks into the blinking light, wondering what he can do, when out of the corner of his eye, he sees a large stone that seems to shimmer with every blink of the star's light. Intrigued by the shimmering stone, he walked across the cool sand towards the large shimmering rock. As he approaches the rock, he sees interlocking patterns across its surface. Embedded in the rock were gems and jewels and thousands of tiny reflective stones that seemed to dance under the star's glow. It reminded Ingo of the starry sky he so enjoys watching, and of how long it had been since he last had some lychee nuts. So he sits on the glimmering rock, carefully unfolds his pack of lychee nuts, and gazes at the flashing light before him. As he takes a deep, restful breath, With his gaze fixated on the now elusive star, he exhales and says quietly to himself, "I wonder what that is." At that exact moment, the ground begins to shake beneath him. Startled by the shaking, Ingo looks to the tree line to see if perhaps the trees were also shaking, but they were standing as still as the night. It was then Ingo realized that the ground wasn't moving, but that the rock was. Ingo quickly jumps off of the shimmering and now rising rock as he watches what appears to be feet and head growing out of this rock. It was then that Ingo realized he had been sitting on top of a miraculous tortoise. The tortoise stretched his long, wrinkly neck into the sky and let out a deep, expansive yawn. Then turned to Ingo, who is still shocked by the glimmering tortoise, and asked, "Haven't you ever seen a star before?" "Yes," Ingo replied cautiously, still unable to relax his shocked expression. "But this star dances in the sky for me, and it blinks unlike anything I've ever seen." Ingo's face finally relaxes as he turns to the flashing star. "I think it wants me to follow it, but I don't know how, or where, or even why." Ingo looks back at the tortoise, who seems to be distracted as he sniffs the air around him. "Or even how I'm supposed to make it through the water," Ingo added. At this point, it was obvious that the tortoise was distracted. He appeared to be sniffing the air around him. As his nose follows the smell through the air, the tortoise's head, body, and eventually his feet lean towards Ingo's leg. "Do you smell mangoes?" asks the tortoise in bewilderment. Ingo bashfully smiles at the tortoise and then turns his attention to the blinking star once more. Then the tortoise looked at Ingo and paused for a moment. He could clearly see Ingo's desire to get to the star. "Climb on my shell," says the tortoise, "and I'll take you through the water. I'll even tell you about the stars." "Wow, thanks!" exclaimed Ingo, with great excitement as he gathered the fallen lychee nuts and shoveled them onto his leaf. In a blink of an eye, Ingo had quickly folded his bag and climbed onto the tortoise's glimmering shell. He finally resumes his adventure to the star. Ingo held on tight as they glided through the sea and towards the star. The tortoise was obviously a great swimmer, and Ingo was confident that they would arrive soon. The flashing light from the star was bright and warmed Ingo's face, which was now engulfed in the cool and damp ocean breeze. The star was the most spectacular object in the night sky, though the shiny gems on the tortoise's shell did occasionally deter Ingo's attention. "I've never seen such a beautiful shell. What is your name?" asked Ingo politely as he stared down in admiration. "Taninyu," the tortoise replied. "I'm Ingo," he answered back. "Do you know why you're following this star?" "I'm not exactly sure, but it's calling to me," replied Ingo. Taninyu then looks to the sky. "There are many stars in the sky, just as there are many people on Earth. These stars were here long before we entered this world. They are here every moment we draw air from the trees, and there they will remain long after we are gone. Whether we know it or not, we each have our very own star that serves as a link to our past, a guide to our present, and a glimpse into our future. On occasion, one star will drop from the sky and shoot its way towards the earth and call to its beating heart." "So every time I see a shooting star," Ingo interjected, but before he could finish, the tortoise answered, "That's a star on its way to a beating heart." "But why would it call to me?" asked Ingo. "To share something no one else but you will know." As Ingo continued to look into the blinking star, he could make out the shadow of what appeared to be land. "Look!" he exclaimed. "I see land! My star is right there!" Indeed, the light was at its brightest, and Ingo was almost at the end of his adventure. The tortoise was a fast swimmer, and the wind had made Ingo's cheeks cold. His legs and chest, the part that embraced the tortoise, were remarkably warm, and almost made Ingo not want to dismount the tortoise as they climbed onto shore. However, having talked to the tortoise and learned about the star's purpose, he was very excited to learn what possible message the star would deliver to him. "This is as far as I can take you. I am tired and I must rest now," As Ingo jumped off, the tortoise shimmied himself into the cool sand and retracted his legs, once more resembling the beautiful, shimmering rock that Ingo had first sat on. "Thank you, Teninu," replied Ingo, as he gathered his nuts and sticks. A muffled reply escaped beneath the cool sand where the tortoise had retracted his head. "Mm-hmm," he mentioned in acknowledgement of Ingo's gratitude. Ingo had finally made it back to land. Although it was not the same land he was used to, it bore a very familiar resemblance to his jungle. As he made his way across the beach and into the jungle, he noticed that the dirt was just as soft, and that the trees were just as green. It was as if he had stepped into an unexplored portion of his own jungle. Ingo continued to follow the star's flashing light through the jungle. The star's light was no longer a distant pulse in the horizon. He could see the star, and he knew exactly how to get there. Ingo anxiously walked faster in an effort to finally reach the star. As he moved swiftly through the trees, skipping past roots and rocks, he realizes something very important. There was not a single mango in sight. Usually, Ingo spots several mango trees within seconds of walking into his jungle, but this was obviously not his jungle, which became very apparent when he finally arrived at the light. There was his star, large with a soft, brilliant glow. There hovered his star, much higher than Ingo initially thought, and directly beneath the star hung the strangest mango house he had ever seen. It was clearly a house, similar to that of the mango home in his jungle. It also had a ladder that led to an opening, what Ingo assumed was a door. But this fruit house was much different than anything he had ever seen. Instead of a bright, fiery yellow-red like his mango home, this fruit house had an equally impressive rich and dark brown exterior. As he walked by the strange fruit to make his way to the ladder, he notices that the skin of the fruit was smooth, but with several large and wavy bumps. It reminded him of the ocean waves he rode only a short while ago. This fruit was completely enveloped by these little waves. Like the tide of the ocean, the waves pulled Ingo's gaze to the opening of the fruit house, where the most amazing ray of greens emanated from its interior. Through the window, he could see the brilliance of a lime green hue, mixed with a calming and subtle green, like the shaded plant from his mango home. It was truly a unique sight. What Ingo hadn't known was that he had reached the jungles of Mexico, and that he stood before a great big avocado. An avocado that was as natural to these surroundings as his mangoes were to his jungle. Ingo climbed the ladder towards the glowing green light. He couldn't help but notice the star hovering directly above in the background. A little bewildered by the sight of an unfamiliar and wonderful fruit, he asks the star, "Was this all just to show me a funny-looking mango?" He continued his climb to the bottom of the entryway, and as he peeked over the ledge and into the home, he could finally see. There she lay silently, nestled on a bed made of vines and leaves, peacefully asleep on her side.
Her hair was
dark, wavy and shiny,
and shiny,
just like the beautiful shell
just
of the
as
home
the
she
beautiful
lived in.
shell of the home she lived in. Although she was perfectly still alive.
Oh, don't cry, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, you little monkey, of course. Read on, honey.
And exuded from every animation book.
Read it. Of course I read. Why would I write a book without you? Anyways, read it, little monkey. Read it.
Exuded from every inch of her. Even at rest, her hair swirled around her neck and covered her shoulders.
Oh, don't cry, baby. Read it, little monkey.
Me. As people were waiting for her to awaken, so that it might spring into action, swaying freely across her face. That's me.
Can you tell?
Yeah, my little brown face and dark hair.
Little brown face and dark hair?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's you.
Ingo was floored and overwhelmed by the jewel that lay before him. As he stood there watching the girl sleep, he couldn't help but feel drawn and connected. It was a hold that attracted everything Ingo was to this one girl. It was an attraction which wielded a hold even stronger than that of the star. It was a sea of emotion running through every inch of Ingo's body with the strength of 1,000 tides pulling him towards her. Overwhelmed by this new sensation, he was not inclined to fight this flurry of emotions that the star wanted him to feel. So, he shut his eyes tightly, and as a tear slid down his cheeks, he surrendered. As one succumbs to the weight of gravity, he surrendered. When he opens his eyes, he finds his lips pressed gently against her cheeks, as soft and as fragrant as a peach. She was still asleep, peaceful as when he had first set eyes upon her. At that moment he realized the wonderful gift that the star had granted him, a rare glimpse into the not-so-distant future, an opportunity to experience and see, if only for a moment, the joys that awaited him. Humbled by what he had seen, Ingo knew the time for him to leave had come. For although the star had been magnanimous in revealing a glimpse into the future, he knew that it was not yet time, and that he would see her again. So, he took one last, long, and careful look at her, as if to collect enough mental images to last him until they met again. He reached into his bag and pulled out half of the remaining lychee nuts, which he then placed on the pillow next to her, and then he proceeded to climb down the avocado, leaving nothing behind but the lychee nuts and the scent of mangoes. He walked back towards the beach, smiling from ear to ear. He could still feel the warm light of the bright star gleaming on his back, a constant reminder of the wonders that await him when he returned.
Do you remember this story?
Yes, you told me that. This is a story you told me that when you were little, you met me in Mexico, and you came with your little bag, and you saw me, and then you knew you would meet me again.
So look, okay, here's the thing. It took me a while to make this book, honey, but the thing is, like, you know, I always regard you, little monkey, as the most important and the most special person in my life.
You added me to the book.
Listen. And I always compare you to, like, the stars, and I always compare you to that which can't be attained, because every time I spend with you, honey, it really does feel like that, honey, you know, and that's the only way I can describe it. We've been, like, together for 9 years, and I've known you even longer, little monkey, and I love you very, 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 very much. And you know, the thing is, like, it's taken me so long, because I feel like, you know, like, you deserve so much, honey, you know, and then, like, it took me, like, forever to make this book, but then I realized that you deserve more than this book, you know, like, if I could collect all the stars, I would spend an eternity collecting all the stars for you, little monkey, you know, but I don't want to wait an eternity, little monkey. So it's with that, little monkey, that I want to ask you, little monkey.
What is it, baby? What is it?
It's the star, baby.
What is it?
Baby Elizabeth. Honey.
What is it, baby?
Baby, will you marry me, honey?
Yeah, baby.